I'm trying to understand this comment that I just saw on the channel. I actually had to hide all the details and modify out the name because I'm like, yo, this is one of those kinds of comments that you got to ask and say, what in the world did this audience member just write? Now, we've been talking about exclusivity. My videos have been channeled towards exclusivity, right? This is not from the nib video. This is from another video about exclusivity and all that. Has nothing to do with Game Pass. But I was talking about how these talking heads basically find themselves in a position where they either have to downplay what is going on or they have to lie about Xbox and about PlayStation because we now have data from executives. We now have comments from CEOs or whatever the heck you want to call them. You got Herman Holtz talking about their plan, wanting to basically attract PC players when he was the co-CEO. You have Phil Spencer talking about how the industry has changed. You have Shuhei Yoshida after retirement dropping dimes. And then you have the bro from MPD Research, Mr. Matt Piscatella, giving the game and the data as to what's going on in the gaming industry. With all of these people having come out in the last few months to basically inform gamers as to what's going on, the talking heads are in shambles. Their talking points, their basis, their ethos, everything that they've basically built their entire premises on has fallen flat. So now when people listen to them, they have verifiable data sets that have always been there, by the way, but nobody really wanted to talk about that for the meantime, right? People can now go ahead and juxtapose what their claims are with the verifiable data sets that are out there. To this effect, somebody left a comment, but this comment was nothing about what we've been discussing. But this person tries to justify why Xbox is getting all of this so-called fake, hate boners that they put out there. And he said, the way I see it, man, Xbox can't get a break because they're destroying the industry with what they're doing as well. Okay, this has got to be insane, right? So Xbox is destroying the industry so they can't catch a break. So basically the Xbox tax, which is what I've been pointing to, unfair categorization, unfair representation, downplaying of what Xbox is doing, whereas when PlayStation would do the same thing, it gets celebrated, is justifiable because, according to this individual, they're destroying the industry. Let me see their explanation. They said, it's like if a water-powered car were to be developed. Then they said it's good for consumers, but it would destroy the automotive industry basically overnight because the infrastructure isn't in place to transition from motor engines to water engines. Has anybody ever read what they call a crock of BS before? That is the most crocky of the BS-y thing I've ever seen in my life. Do we not have electric cars? Have we overnight upended the gasoline-powered auto industry for the sake of, electric cars? And if a water power car were to come out, it would be great for consumers. But there are people who are not going to want to transition immediately. You would have to presume that everybody has the money to go ahead and buy the water powered car. In fact, there are just so many holes that I can continue to poke here if I wanted to, but I really need to get through this comment. Then they said, yeah, Game Pass is good for the consumers. Okay, so it's good for the consumers, but it's destroying the industry because the people and companies want to make money. Dude, I hope you know that if you're using the Game Pass service, right, as a developer, you can make money, and as a user, you can spend more money if you wish to. If you click a game on Game Pass here, well, on the Xbox app or on your on your Xbox console, this is the PC version, any game that you click here that you can get your hands on will have a buy button next to it to buy either of the different versions that are available for gamers if the game is not a free-to-play game. You do know that, right? So these companies that want to make money can actually make money because they have a install button if you're using Game Pass or a play via cloud, and then a buy button that will serve you the purpose of hanging on to that license so that that developer can eat more. Because when their game comes to Game Pass, they actually make money. So they have the opportunity to eat twice on putting their games on Game Pass. So you claiming that this is not good for the industry is from a position of actually not knowing what the Game Pass package is about. It's like PlayStation Plus as well. There are games that are coming to PlayStation Plus every month, and those developers can also eat twice because they get money upfront to bring their game to PlayStation Plus, and then if a user likes the game, they either copy it, keep it in their library, or they buy it because they want to. You see that? The crazy thing is, PlayStation is doing the same thing. But you say Xbox is doing it, it's good, but it's bad because it's Xbox. In the brain, a rot has occurred for you to jump to that conclusion. I have to say. And I really don't like to throw shots, but man, you gotta admit that you have basically engaged your console war brain and took basic analytical thinking out the window. That's what it does. That's what it does. You said they want to make money and there isn't such money being made, but maintenance of things and operation costs are in the billions then. What is this? How is any of this strategy that Xbox has been using feasible? It's not. No, you pulled that conclusion out of your butt. My goodness. Guys and girls, this is one of the craziest things that I've ever seen, that how Game Pass has basically jabbed a stake into critical thinking for a lot of these folk that just have pure hatred for Xbox. Dude, PlayStation's doing this. Can I repeat again that PlayStation is doing the same thing to the capacity that they have money to do it? Can I repeat that Xbox, and not just Xbox, that Ubisoft and EA is doing the same thing to the capacity that they actually are able to? With EA Play and EA Play Pro? With Ubisoft Plus? Am I crazy to think that all these people have somehow just looked at Xbox and said that they being able to do it on a larger scale is bad? Because you're jealous. That's what it is. That's what I sense it is. That's what I sense it is. So you use that as some kind of a justification to say that's why they can't get a break, because what they're doing is cool for gamers, but is destructive to business practice. But yet, the people that are giving Xbox flack are gamers. Do you not see how crazy that is? That something that's good for gamers, the gamers are giving Xbox flack for it. It's not the gamers, it's you. Y'all that are actually here on this PlayStation hyper fanboyism, you guys have absolutely lost your mind. Your critical thinking has gone out the window because for some strange reason you cannot comprehend that whatever is good for the gamer should actually be, in a sense, if the gamer wants, celebrated or enjoyed by the gamer. If it's bad for the gamer, it should be thrown away. But because you guys want a console war, you've now become pro-corporate. You've jumped into pro-corporatism and become anti-consumer. Nib did a 6-minute video yesterday on Twitter. The entire video was like a PlayStation presentation. Like, this cat could not even tell us the premise of his video, which is that exclusives are actually beneficial to the consumer. I could not find anything. For 40 minutes, I was pouring through this video, looking at the data sets, looking at, realistic happenings, like how Pearl Abyss told Sony no when it came to an exclusivity deal, and how, developers are reeling from the exclusivity deals that they've taken based on statements that they've made. Square Enix, oh, we didn't make any profit. Shift Up, oh, we hope that the PC version can sell more copies than the PS5 version for their game Stellar Blade. And yet, he makes this whole presentation and then eventually comes and lies that, the reason that Microsoft and Xbox's hardware isn't selling is because they've pivoted to multi-platform, which is a lie, because Xbox One days show the timeline that if you actually go and take an average of the 7 years of the Xbox One console compared to the 7 years of the PS4 console, Xbox One was trailing by less than 50%, if not in some cases, slightly less than 50% of what the PlayStation 4 was actually selling. So PlayStation basically had no need to go multi-plat because they had a good trajectory in their console sales. The Xbox One, nonetheless, having had a terrible launch with bad pricing and TV, they decided that they needed to move to sell their software. So all these PlayStation fanboys that are making it sound like that, they're absolutely lying to you. And even I didn't even have an Xbox One back in the day. I couldn't even keep one. I was a PlayStation player. And yet even I can admit this, and I know this, and they know this, and they choose and refuse to acknowledge it because they want to lie to foment some stupid premise. But here's the thing. The truth is not going to let them get away with it. This person said they say time is money and engagement in many cases with free or cheaper content doesn't always equal a cash out. Some people try these low cost or free content and realize it's not for them. Well, they unsubscribe. You see, that's the thing about a pro-consumer thing is you could just click the button and be done. Xbox isn't going to hold you and say, oh, you must stay subscribed. Or you don't have to fill out 50 forms for you to basically go ahead and unsubscribe from the service. You can unsubscribe immediately. Right? The content isn't up to par. That's according to your estimation. But there are people that are still subscribing. I mean, Gamepass grew 30% on the PC side. So if you think the content isn't up to par, then great. That's your choice. Right? But let the consumer choose. And the consumers are choosing that they want a service like this. It's been here for about 8 years. I don't know how these people came up today. Because when Game Pass didn't have like the big heavy hitters, these people could not be bothered. The moment the Game Pass started to get these games, they all became PlayStation. Our pillars are dated and behind the competition. They just all became Microsoft is about to leapfrog the day and date threat. Post-acquisition, Microsoft will put Activision games on Game Pass day and date. Run around, catch your hair on fire. We're screwed. Oh my gosh. That's what all of you became. You became shills of Sony. You always had been. But man, you took the mask off and you decided that you are going crazy. The content's not up to par, yet PlayStation in their leaked documents are freaking about the so-called content because it's Activision content, the content that's been making them $800+ million every year. Now, Xbox is going to take it, fillet it, flambe it, and basically give it to their customers. And that has made y'all lose your minds. You said the companies such as Nintendo and Sony realize this business practice does not benefit them. This is why it's not being widely adopted. No, PlayStation's been doing it. You just close your eyes to it. That's what many of you do. You close your eyes to reality and then you blab a bunch of nonsense. This is why I make 50 videos a day. Does that make sense? And I'm not going to lie, man. It benefits me that you all continue in this brain rot, by the way, so that I can continue to educate people as to what's going on. It's a very interesting framework to be able to see people just go ahead and for the most part, just straight up say some of the craziest things that you've ever heard in your life. And this is where we are in the gaming conversation. The gaming conversation has to heal. It has to heal. And it will heal. You see, for the longest time, there have been people just basically saying a bunch of nonsense. Their ideas have not been challenged. So they're just comfortable saying stuff. That's what it is. But now everyone's like, okay, back up your claim. Like Reforge in his video the other day, one of his audience members said, where's your data? He said, I don't have to show any data. I'm claiming that somebody's, position is wrong. I need to show no data to that. Oh, okay. Well, that's not how it works, son. You gotta have to show the receipts. We've created a culture. Do you guys not realize that this channel and others have created a culture where you must back up the things that you're saying in this environment? I've always longed to see it, and everyone's going to have to be held accountable. If I say something off the cuff that has no data to back it up, call me out on it. Put me on blast so that I can go get better, because I'm not going to sit here and want to be a hypocrite. Point it out. Say, VG, you missed on here. I'm going back to the library to study. That's how it's got to be. No more of this talking nonsense, bogus trash without any sensibility to it. It's not going to fly. Thanks for watching the video. Appreciate you all so much. Talk to me in the comment section. Peace out.